Welcome back to the Wargrove of Woe. In today's video, we're going to be examining the subfactions and their lore for the Nighthaunt in Age of Sigmar 3.0. Nighthaunt are a really fantastic army in their lore, how they look, and overall feel, something that I have found myself getting more and more into, and so I'm excited to talk about these. Without further ado, let's get started. First up is the Emerald Host, and their army-wide ability is before the game starts, you can pick D3 plus 1 enemy units, and at the end of each battle round, you roll a dice, and on a 2-up, you deal D3 mortal wounds, or D3 plus 1 if the target is a monster. This is a very simple and a little bit of a weaker effect for the Emerald Host. I wouldn't necessarily call it bad, it's just not powerful. Like, it's just damage to some specific units, albeit this is happening throughout the game until the game is over, so there's something to that. But I think this is definitely one of the weaker ones, but it has some interesting lore. The lore of the Endless Host is that they are the personal army of Lady Oleander. They are made up of the souls of those who plotted against her in life, and when Lady Oleander seeks the utter annihilation of a foe, she will give upon them the Emerald Curse, marking them for her legion to go and slay. Super interesting army, definitely something to consider if you want that Outrider Revenant style of lore for your army. Next, we have the Quicksilver Dead. They have a very simple army-wide ability. No ward rolls if the attacks are coming from Dread Scythe Harridans. Dread Scythe Harridans are really powerful, so this is a good ability to have, and ward rolls tend to be common in various armies, so making so the enemy cannot use them is powerful. For the lore on the Quicksilver Dead, they hail from the derelict city of Elixia, a once prosperous forge world where, in the age of myth and the age of chaos, the tides of chaos washed over them and nothing remained. In their death, they are reforged as living Quicksilver, forging their foes' demise with excruciating precision and merciless intent. Then we have the Scarlet Doom, which I personally think is the strongest subfaction, because it makes Bladegeist Revenant's battle line, as well as the army-wide ability, is pretty nice. You could make an argument for the Grieving Legion as well. Their army-wide ability for the Scarlet Doom is after a Bladegeist Revenant charges, you roll a number of models equal to the number of models in the enemy unit. Each 5-up is a mortal wound. This is a very powerful ability because it kind of helps you clear down some units before you get into combat. It's not too much damage, but it's still good. And against horde type armies, you are going to get a lot of value out of this. Plus, the army-wide retreat and charge means you can always get this going. The Scarlet Doom are the spirits whose corpses were defiled and desecrated after their death. They carry with them a burning desire for vengeance that the Scarlet Doom crashes upon the despoilers with screams of rage and fury. These guys have a super fantastic lore, and with the red imagery and the scarlet in their name, you could make a really cool like lava-colored Nighthaunt army and theme it around the Scarlet Doom, or have some fire in it, which I think is really neat. If you ever paint it like that, let me know in the comments. Lastly, we have the Grieving Legion. The Grieving Legion army-wide ability is enemies cannot retreat while they are in combat with friendly units of 10 or more models. This obviously plays into a very horde style of Nighthaunt armies, a lot of chain rasps and a lot of larger units to tie down key enemy targets. It's a very powerful ability, just be aware that you will have to play that way with a large army horde. The Grieving Legion is a legion of jailers, torturers, and executioners. The souls of the Grieving Legion spill out from the dungeons of Dolorum to seek their prey and drag them screaming to the underworld for their deserved punishment. They are an army of punishers and chain geists and chain rasps and all that jazz. A very neat idea, and I like the idea of how they come out from the dungeons to go find the guilty and drag them back to the underworld. It's very neat. Before we end out the video, a quick thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are amazing, and I am very appreciative for each and every one of you. An extra special thanks to Nick Hoff. And that was the Nighthaunt Subfactions Explained. Nighthaunt have some really interesting lore. I wish they were expanded upon a little bit, as I had a hard time finding lore for these specific legions or these specific subfactions, and just kind of extrapolated from what units they like to carry as well as what I could find in their Battletome. But if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment, and if you would like to see more of this type of content in the future, consider subscribing. This has been the Wardrobe of Woe, and I'll talk to you guys next time.